Welcome to my channel Sci-Fi Love Story. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to like this and subscribe. The desert was unforgiving, stretching endlessly in every direction, an ocean of shifting amber sands under a sky that burned like molten metal. Captain Adrian Voss had crossed many alien worlds in his career as an interstellar explorer, but none had tested him like SCI-9. He stumbled across the dunes, each step heavier than the last, the scorching winds clawing at his skin through the protective suit's last fail-safe layers. Water had run out hours ago. His throat burned with a pain so deep it made his vision blur. The sun, a monstrous twin star hanging low on the horizon, seared his suit, and every instinct screamed to find shelter. But all he saw was the undulating sea of sand. Then, half buried in the sand, he saw it. A horn. Its surface shimmered faintly, a mix of gold and silver that no ordinary desert artifact could achieve. Adrian sank to his knees, coughing, dragging his parched body closer. The horn was ornate, covered in delicate carvings that pulsed with an eerie glow. Somehow, it called to him, promising life. With trembling hands, he lifted it, the metal warm under his fingers. The carvings seemed to twist in the corner of his vision. He tilted the horn to his lips and drank. The liquid inside was sweet, richer than any water he had ever tasted, rushing down his throat like a river of fire and ice at once. His eyes rolled back, every muscle in his body trembled, every fiber of him rejoicing in the flood of life returning. But then, as soon as relief came, a voice hissed into his mind. Not a voice of this world. It was ancient, cruel, yet sad. You took my 50 years of life. Adrian froze. The horn slipped from his fingers, clattering onto the sand. The voice came again, sharper this time, reverberating through his skull like a physical strike. You stole what was mine. He dropped to his knees, eyes scanning the horizon, but there was no one. Just wind and sand. A shimmer appeared, forming into a figure before him. It was humanoid but taller than any human, its skin a deep indigo that seemed to absorb the desert light. Its eyes were gold, molten, unblinking. Spines ran along its arms, and its presence exuded power, menace, and grief all at once. I didn't know, Adrian gasped, his throat raw. I was dying. I only, the figure raised a hand, and the wind stilled, the desert eerily quiet. You drank from the horn of Kytharan, a sacred vessel, kept for my people for 50 years. Every drop contains a lifespan, every sip drains time itself. Adrian's heart hammered. I just needed water. I thought it was abandoned. Nothing here is abandoned, the alien said. Its voice hissed again, vibrating with anger. Do you understand what you have done? No, I mean, yes. Can I fix it? Adrian's desperation was raw, human, a flicker of hope in the vast, alien emptiness. The alien studied him, eyes narrowing. Fix it? No human has ever understood the weight of lifetimes. You have taken 50 of mine, and yet you live. The word struck him harder than the sun. 50 years. In one sip, he had taken half a century of life from this being, an immortal or near-immortal creature. And now it was staring at him, silently judging, as though the desert itself were holding its breath. I will give anything to make this right, Adrian said, staggering to his feet, hands raised. Please, tell me what to do. The alien paused, as if considering. Then, in a tone that was both cold and curiously weary, it said, life does not return easily. For every 50 years taken, a debt must be repaid. You will walk the lands of SCI-9, and every act of courage, compassion, and sacrifice you perform will restore the balance. Fail, and the 50 years will be claimed from you instead. Adrian swallowed, terror and determination warring inside him. I understand. Tell me what to do first. The alien's golden eyes pierced him. Survive, endure, and protect the lost city of Zytherus. It is where my people's remnants hide. Dark forces seek to destroy it. If it falls, all that was lost with my 50 years will be lost forever. And just like that, the alien vanished, leaving only the whispering wind and the echo of time stolen. Adrian fell to his knees once more, gripping the horn, the life-giving liquid coursing through him. Somehow, he had survived, but at a cost he could barely fathom. He traveled across the desert for days, guided by instincts he didn't know he had. The sandstorms were relentless, but the taste of the horn's liquid gave him strength beyond normal human limits. His endurance, speed, and reflexes felt heightened, as if the stolen time had infused him with unnatural vitality. Finally, he saw it, a massive city half buried in sand and rock, glimmering faintly with the same golden hue as the horn. Xythorus. Its spires twisted skyward, intricate patterns carved into obsidian walls. But as he approached, a shadow fell over the city. A fleet of alien raiders, grotesque in form, descended upon the city with plasma weapons drawn. Their screeching was deafening, their intent clear: annihilation. Adrian didn't think. The instinct to act surged through him. He charged forward, using the heightened strength from the horn's gift, dodging plasma bolts and leaping over the city's broken walls. Human ingenuity, speed, and sheer determination became his weapons. He redirected energy pulses back at the attackers, improvised traps from debris, and shouted warnings to the city's few defenders, who stared in disbelief at the human's audacity. Impossible, one alien shouted, firing blindly. He should be dead by now. Adrian ducked, threw a metal beam, and sent a raider crashing into the sand. Every move was precise, almost instinctual, as though some hidden guidance, perhaps the stolen 50 years, was coursing through him. By the end of the day, the attackers were routed, fleeing into the desert, their ships smoldering. The remnants of Xythorus' people gathered around him, their faces filled with awe. The alien he had seen before appeared again, stepping out of the shadows. "You survived. You understood what courage and sacrifice meant," it said, voice softer now. "And for that, some of the time may be returned." Adrian looked at the being, exhausted, covered in sand, blood, and sweat. "Some, not all," the alien nodded. "Balance must be maintained. But know this, humanity, your kind, your spirit is remarkable. Even when faced with death, you act with ingenuity and courage. That is why the horn's power resonates with you. You are worthy, Adrian Voss." A golden light emanated from the horn, swirling around Adrian's body. He felt the weight of 50 years return to the alien, and for a moment, he sensed a lifetime flash before his eyes, the alien's memories, experiences, victories, and losses. The desert wind hummed with that energy, and then, suddenly, it was gone. "Go," the alien said, fading once more. "Return to your people. Tell them that life, no matter how fragile, is precious, and that even a single human can tip the scales of destiny." Adrian collapsed, but he smiled. He had survived the desert, the horn, the wrath of a vengeful alien, and emerged a hero in a world not his own. The lesson was clear. Humanity, fragile though it may seem, carried a strength and courage that even the most ancient beings could respect. As he made his way back to his ship, the desert no longer seemed hostile, but alive, watching, remembering, and perhaps, waiting for another human to prove themselves worthy. He raised the horn once more, now empty but still glowing faintly, and whispered avow to the wind, "I will honor this gift. I will honor life." And somewhere, in the golden sands of SCI-FI, the alien's eyes watched him, a faint trace of a smile in their molten depths. The universe was vast. Humans were small, but even the smallest could shine like stars. Adrian Voss had returned to his ship after saving Xythorus, yet the desert of SCI-FI still whispered around him. The horn, now faintly glowing, rested on the console beside him. Even though he had returned the 50 years to the alien Kael'vara, the experience had changed him. His body carried strength no ordinary human soul could have. His mind had glimpsed a lifetime of alien history, wisdom, fear, triumph, and tragedy. And the universe, he realized, was far stranger and larger than he had ever imagined. Yet, peace was short-lived. As Adrian charted a course back to human space, his ship's senses picked up an anomaly near the northern dunes, the same desert where he had found the horn. A massive energy signature pulsed beneath the sands, strong enough to distort the space around it. Something alive was stirring. Adrian's curiosity overrode caution. "I've already survived one death trap today," he muttered. "What's the worst that could happen?" Landing near the source, he found a massive stone monolith, half buried and covered in glowing runes. It hummed with energy that matched the horn's resonance. Adrian approached cautiously. As he touched the stone, a vision erupted before his eyes, an alien civilization, long extinct, and a creature struggling against a force far greater than itself. The horn had been part of a chain, a series of artifacts safeguarding not just life, but the very essence of time on SCI-FI. Suddenly, the ground trembled. From beneath the sand, a creature emerged, a colossal, serpentine being with scales like obsidian and eyes that glowed with the cold light of stars. It hissed in a voice that shook the desert itself. "You dare return, human? You who drank from the horns. You who stole life. Adrian froze. This was unlike Kytharan. This was something ancient, primal. Something that predated even the alien civilization he had glimpsed. But he remembered the lessons from the horn: courage, ingenuity, and human resilience. Listen, he said, raising his hands, though he knew it might mean nothing. I returned what I took. I've saved lives, fought impossible odds. I don't want conflict, I just want to survive. The creature's eyes narrowed. Survival is meaningless if balance is broken. 50 years were stolen, and the chain must be restored. Adrian's mind raced. He realized that the horn wasn't a singular artifact. It was part of a network designed to regulate life and time on this planet. The creature, perhaps a guardian, demanded the restoration of the system. Acting on instinct, Adrian scanned the area and noticed ancient depressions in the sand, shaped like smaller horns. They seemed to pulse, reacting to his presence. He picked one up, feeling the faint hum of energy. His human intuition kicked in. If the horns were restored to the monolith, maybe he could reset the balance. With the colossal creature watching, he raced across the desert, carefully placing each horn into the matching indentation on the monolith. Sparks flew, and golden energy surged through the runes. The air vibrated with power, lifting Adrian off his feet. Time seemed to retch and compress around him. He felt the lives of countless creatures, humans and aliens alike, flowing through him. Finally, the last horn clicked into place. A blinding light erupted, forcing Adrian to shield his eyes. When he looked again, the creature was gone, the monolith glowing softly but no longer threatening. Adrian sank to his knees, gasping. His mind, body, and soul ached from the flood of energy he had channeled. Yet, something incredible had happened. He had restored the balance, and perhaps saved not just Xythorus, but the entire desert ecosystem, and maybe even the planet's timeline itself. Days later, aboard his ship, Adrian reflected. Kytharan's voice, once sharp with anger, now echoed in his memory. You are human. Fragile, yes. Limited, yes. But in courage and ingenuity, you surpass many who are older than the stars. Adrian realized that the horn, the monolith, and even the serpentine guardian were part of a test, not just of strength, but of character. Humans, he thought, may not live for millennia, but the choices they make, the courage they muster, and the lives they touch could influence events far beyond their comprehension. When he returned to human space, Adrian was no longer the same man. News of his survival and heroic deeds on SCI-FI spread among the interstellar community. He became a symbol, a living proof that humans could not only survive against alien powers but could triumph in ways even immortal beings respected. But Adrian did not rest on his laurels. He studied the horn, the monolith, and the desert's mysteries, preparing for the next challenge. He knew the universe was filled with tests, hidden civilizations, and guardians who measured the worth of life. Humanity had proven itself on one desert planet, but countless worlds awaited their courage. Years later, as Adrian gazed at the stars from his ship's bridge, the horn sat on the console, faintly glowing as if alive. A new thought struck him. Perhaps life, death, and time were not merely constants. They were a dialogue between beings of all kinds, across species and millennia. And humans, small though they might be, were part of that dialogue. And somewhere, in the sands of SCI-FI, the Guardian watched, no longer angry but expectant. The next human would come, perhaps to drink, perhaps to test, perhaps to redeem. Adrian smiled. Humanity had made its mark, and in the vast, lonely cosmos, even small sparks could light the darkest nights. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to like this and subscribe.